The power of thought is an astonishing energy and the greatest power which mankind has at its disposal. What a person thinks is the mainstream of all of his or her actions. It is the power which can make the highest achievements possible. It is the power by which difficulties can be conquered, by which life can be beautified, inspired, and energized with God-given powers. Thoughts are things. They are powerful. They are preemptive. The very thought running through your mind can help to manifest the life of your dreams or draw you closer to your greatest fears. But most people don't realize the inherent power of their thoughts. We go about our lives steeped in one mindset or another, without the clear realization that whatever it is we think about or focus on consistently, we move towards. Whether or not you believe that statement is rather subjective. Not everyone believes in the fervent power of their thoughts. They brush it off while dwelling on the past or fearing the future, not quite understanding that the very things that they are thinking about they are inching closer towards. At the very fundamental level, thoughts are purely energy. They move across the synapses in our brains, jumping from one neuron to another, moving from one cluster to the next in a lightning fast speed. It's a near instantaneous process. If you think about moving your hand, as you think it, it happens. There is no lag there. You're not waiting for some CPU to crunch directives. The mind is the most powerful computer in the world at the moment. That energy moving across the synapses of your neurons has potent potential to revolutionize your life. A single thought can spark a flurry of activity. In a moment, we can decide and commit to something, anything, that will move us in one path or the next towards our hopes and dreams. Those same thoughts can also fester and marinate in our minds, inflecting every emotion and behavior until it manifests itself into reality. Yes, there is no denying the power of your thoughts. There's no hiding from something that is so real and exact that it can either be harnessed for good or leveraged for extreme bad. But what are thoughts exactly? How do they work? Is everything in our lives right now the product of our thoughts? Have we truly manifested whatever reality we might be experiencing at this moment in time? Understanding your thoughts. The human mind is still something that perplexes us. While we have an abundance of information on how it works, we haven't quite grasped all of its nuances and complexities. Just how is it that we're experiencing reality? How does consciousness work? How are we in this body right now and experiencing these things? If you stop for a moment to think about it, the thoughts will daunt you. It's an overwhelming fact, something that we can't quite wrap our heads around. To add to that equation as humans, our bodies are made up of 99.99999% empty space. The atoms in our bodies, at their most finite scales, are simply empty space, held together by electrical charges. On a quantum level, things get even stranger. Those atoms can actually appear in two places at the same time, which is called quantum superposition. Matter exists in a variety of forms and states due to complex quantum wave functions. So, what we're experiencing and feeling isn't quite 100% real, so to speak. I know it all sounds very strange, and we don't need to understand how it all works or get into an in-depth discussion about quantum physics to be able to understand that reality is merely a projection of our thoughts on a finite scale. But we do need to be able to leverage it. Since everything is held together by electrical energies and our thoughts are pure energy, it's easy to see how thoughts on their most fundamental scale can permeate everything. On the macro scale, it's harder to appreciate. But think smaller, think nano level and beyond. However, another problem that arises is that the human mind is a computer that's been preconditioned. It has some software that's installed at birth in the form of our DNA. But after that, every new experience is another memory logged that might create a variety of functions. As we grow older, those functions turn into habits. But at the very basal level, everything is created by our thoughts and how we perceive things. Yes, we are all unique in our own special little ways, and even identical twins can grow up to become widely different people. That's because their thoughts evolve differently, permeating their lives in ways that are unique only to them. It's the nature of mankind and the divine chisel that carves us into who we are. I doubt we will ever understand it all. But for those that can appreciate it and harness the true power of their thoughts, anything is possible. Living in fear. Did you know that the human mind processes anywhere between 50,000 to upwards of 70,000 thoughts in any given day? Obviously, not all of those thoughts are conscious, and not all of those thoughts are unique. Many of the thoughts are repeated and replayed in our subconscious minds. They stem from our deepest and most darkest fears. These are the what-if scenarios that we can't seem to escape no matter what we do. Fear-based thought is one of the most prevalent thoughts that pervade our minds. On the other end of that spectrum are thoughts that are founded on the purity of love, honesty, and forgiveness. Yet, not enough of our thoughts are love-based thoughts. Much of them are fear-based. The problem with living in a fear-based mindset is that those fears have a tendency for transmuting themselves into reality. When you live in fear, not only does it tax you mentally, but also emotionally, spiritually, and of course, physically. Mentally speaking, you spend much of your time dwelling on the what-ifs and thinking about all those doomsday scenarios. Much of our fear-based thoughts revolve around our finances and relationships, but also extend into our careers, health, and other areas of life. Thoughts produce emotions. Any thought based on fear is going to produce a set of resultant emotions that will develop a foundation for stress and anxiety. When your emotions are taxed, it weighs heavily on your spirit, but also produces stress hormones that negatively affect your physiology. It suppresses your digestive and reproductive systems, along with reducing your immune system into shambles. The power of our fear-based thoughts are abundantly clear. They can ruin us. They can make us head for the ropes and run for the trenches. It's a terrible state of mind to have to live in a constant mindset of fear. But countless people from around the globe can't help but live in that very state. However, if you're serious about achieving your goals or accomplishing anything notable in life, you have to extricate yourself from a mindset of fear. As difficult as it might feel, we have to gravitate towards love. Fear and also hate take a great deal of energy. Whereas love is effortless and empowering. The sooner you move from a fear-based mentality to a love-based mentality, the sooner you'll feel that cathartic cleansing that comes along with pure and unconditional love. It's not a gullible state to live in. That's simply the inherent power of thought at play on a constant basis in our minds. How to shift your thinking. We are all creatures of habit. We have very set ways of doing things because we've conditioned ourselves to think, feel, and behave that way through years and sometimes decades of practice. It's this type of habitual thought patterns that can set the stage for an empowering and fulfilling life, or help to play a hand in our resultant downfall over time. Thoughts, quite literally, are things, since they lay the foundation for any type of life we might decide to lead. If you're serious about achieving your goals and accomplishing anything worth noting in life, Albert Einstein once said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." You can't expect to think, feel, and behave the same way but garner different results. You have to take drastic measures by sowing the seeds of change to reap powerful results. Yes, it doesn't happen overnight. For those that are serious, there is a pathway to achievement. As long as you can shift your thinking into the right direction, you can quite literally manifest your dreams. So how does this work? This multi-step process is born through the application of a few fundamental principles to help manifest and attract whatever it is that you want in your life. As long as you appreciate the power behind focused thoughts and you can apply these steps, you can achieve anything. Step 1. Refine your focus. The power to achieve anything lies in your focus. The more you can focus your thoughts on something, the more likely you'll be able to achieve it. If you focus your mind on the wrong things, then you'll have a harder time achieving anything in life. Learn how to direct and refine your focus to help guide you in the right direction. If you don't, you'll feel at the mercy of the events in your life rather than at the aim of them. Step 2. Gain the proper perspective. Sometimes we take things for granted in life. We live in the status quo with the expectation of a certain standard of living, or that people around us will be there for us in our times of need and so on. But oftentimes, It's the things that we take for granted, which were once not a part of our lives, that we need to appreciate and be grateful for if we want to succeed. There are hundreds of millions of people living in complete squalor with no hope for the future. So be sure to have gratitude for whatever it is that you do have, no matter how meek it might seem. Step 3. Set meaningful goals. If you want to leverage the power of your thoughts to achieve great things, you have to set meaningful goals. What do your goals mean to you? They can't be superficial. When we set superficial goals, it's easier to lose sight of them. They have to mean something so profound that it allows us to focus solely on them, no matter what tends to get in our way. That only happens when we set goals that truly mean something to us, beyond things like money, fame, and prestige. Step 4. Find ways to add value. We can harness our thoughts to achieve wild success when we are constantly seeking ways to add value. Life shouldn't always be about a direct return on investment from your time spent on things. You have to look at the long-term implications of doing things the right way today, even if it takes a considerable amount of time for that to materialize into real results. When you search for shortcuts, you cut yourself off from the abundance that awaits the person who goes out of their way for others. Step 5. Follow a detailed and intricate plan. We can help to guide our thoughts in the right direction when we follow detailed and intricate plans. Whatever it is that you want in life, as long as you do the proper amount of planning for it, you can achieve it over time. It just won't happen overnight, but it's the right plan that will take you from point A to point B. Without it, you'll be left scratching your head and wondering why you are not making the amount of progress you are after. Step 6. Effectively manage your time. Effective time management is a skill that some of the most successful people on earth institute. We all have the same amount of time in this world, no matter who we are. However, it's how we use that time wisely that dictates just what we are capable of achieving. Guide your thoughts in the right direction by first auditing and analyzing your time, then instituting a system to use the little time you do have wisely towards the achievement of your goals. Step 7. Handle your bad habits before they handle you. The right thoughts directed in the right direction can be powerful, but the wrong thoughts directed in the wrong direction can be fatal. Poor thoughts help to instill bad habits, and those bad habits can run rampant on our lives. There's almost no way to accomplish and achieve great things in life when our bad habits consume us. Handle your bad habits before they handle you if you are serious about reaching your goals. Step 8. Avoid negativity like the plague. Negative thinking will lead us nowhere fast. Do what it takes to avoid negativity. Remember that all of reality is merely an illusion. On the macro level, it doesn't seem that way, but on the quantum level, it's hard to believe that what exists actually exists. There's true power in the positive energy of good and pure thoughts, but there's also true catastrophe in negative thinking. Avoid negative thinking like the plague, because like attracts like. The scripture urges us in Philippians 4 verse 8, Finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue, and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. Step 9. Contribute your time to others. Contribution is at the heart of success. Our fellow man, woman, and child are struggling, even right in our own backyards. Find ways to contribute to them. Contribution will open you up to an enormous source of good energy from the universe. Don't look for ways you can take from others, but rather what you can give to them. No matter what the situation, nor how little you think you might have, others have less. But you might not need to give them money. Just contribute your time. That's all it takes. Step 10. Stay persistent no matter what. Life can be hard at the best of times, and it can be downright unbearable at the worst of times. But the true pathway to achieving anything is to stay persistent no matter what. No matter how many times you fail or feel like giving up, don't throw in that proverbial towel. Stay strong, stay persistent, and keep pushing. You can do and achieve anything you put your mind to as long as you stay persistent. It's all in your mind. It always has been, and it always will be. The power of thought as it relates to your financial prosperity. Many people have failed to realize that their belief systems and their thinking has a relationship with their financial prosperity and their destiny. Your thoughts will eventually translate to your physical reality. Most people think that all it takes to prosper is capital plus a business idea. Many people have tried this again and again, and it did not work. Your thoughts will eventually translate to your physical reality. Your thoughts, your mental state, has a lot to do with your prosperity. Your thoughts will eventually translate to your physical reality. As it is in your mind, so it will manifest in your life. As it is in your mind, so it will manifest in your life. The realities that are captured in your thoughts and your belief systems will eventually find physical expressions in your life. Your reality is a product of your most dominant thought. Your reality is a product of your most dominant thought. Everything in life is built twice. First in your mind and then physically. If you ever try to build anything physically that is not yet built in your mind, you will lose it. Everything in life is built twice. First in your mind and then your physical reality. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that. When they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. Before success comes in any man's life, he is sure to meet with much temporary defeat and perhaps some failure. When defeat overtakes a man, the easiest and most logical thing to do is to quit. That is exactly what the majority of men do. Most successful men attest that their greatest success came just one step beyond the point at which defeat had overtaken them. Failure is a trickster with a keen sense of irony and cunning. It takes great delight in tripping one when success is almost within reach. One of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. Every person is guilty of this mistake at one time or another. One of the main weaknesses of mankind is the average man's familiarity with the word impossible. He knows all the rules which will not work. He knows all the things which cannot be done. Success comes to those who become success conscious. Failure comes to those who indifferently allow themselves to become failure conscious. When riches begin to come, they come so quickly, in such great abundance, that one wonders where they have been hiding during all those lean years. Another weakness found in altogether too many people is the habit of measuring everything and everyone by their own impressions and beliefs. Some people believe that no one can think and grow rich. They cannot think in terms of riches because their thought habits have been steeped in poverty, want, misery, failure, and defeat. We refuse to believe that which we do not understand. We foolishly believe that our own limitations are the proper measure of limitations. Sure, the other fellow's eyes are off slant because they are not the same as our own. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. The starting point of all achievement is desire, and this is the first step toward riches. Every person who wins in any undertaking must be willing to burn his ships and cut all sources of retreat. Only by so doing can one be sure of maintaining that state of mind known as a burning desire to win, which is essential to success. Every human being who reaches the age of understanding of the purpose of money wishes for it. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes a compelling motivation, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches, and backing those plans with persistence which does not recognize failure. That will bring riches. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite practical steps. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite as to the amount. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. That something could be a service. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money you desire. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read your written statement aloud twice daily, once just before retiring at night and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. These steps call for no hard labor. They call for no sacrifice. They do not require one to become ridiculous or credulous. To apply them calls for no great amount of education, but the successful application of these 6 steps does call for sufficient imagination to enable one to see and to understand that accumulation of money cannot be left to chance, good fortune, and luck. One must realize that all who have accumulated great fortunes first did a certain amount of dreaming, hoping, wishing, desiring, and planning before they acquired money. If you do not see great riches in your imagination, you will never see them in your bank balance. Awake, arise, and assert yourself, you dreamers of the world. Your star is now in the ascendancy. The world depression brought the opportunity you have been waiting for. It taught people humility, tolerance, and open-mindedness. The world is filled with an abundance of opportunity which the dreamers of the past never knew. A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. Dreams are not born of indifference, laziness, or lack of ambition. There is a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-mindedness is essential for belief. Closed minds do not inspire faith, courage, and belief. Remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. Our only limitations are those we set up in our own minds. Every adversity brings with it the seed of an equivalent advantage. Only those who become money conscious ever accumulate great riches. Money consciousness means that the mind has been so thoroughly saturated with the desire for money that one can see oneself already in possession of it. The visualization of and belief in attainment of desire is known as faith, and this is the second step toward riches. Faith. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with the vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration, translates it into its spiritual equivalent, and transmits it to infinite intelligence, as in the case of prayer. Repetition of affirmation of others to your subconscious mind is the only known method of voluntary development of the emotion of faith. All thoughts which have been emotionalized and mixed with faith begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. The emotions or the feeling portion of thoughts are the factors which give thoughts vitality, life, and action. There are millions of people who believe themselves doomed to poverty and failure because of some strange force over which they believe they have no control. They are the creators of their own misfortunes because of their negative belief, which is picked up by the subconscious mind and translated into its physical equivalent. This is an appropriate place at which to suggest again that you may benefit by passing on to your subconscious mind any desire which you wish translated into its physical or monetary equivalent in a state of expectancy or belief that the transmutation will actually take place. Your belief or faith is the element which determines the action of your subconscious mind. There is nothing to hinder you from deceiving your subconscious mind when giving it instructions through autosuggestion. To make this deceit more realistic, conduct yourself just as you would if you were already in possession of the material thing which you are demanding when you call upon your subconscious mind. This subconscious mind will transmute into its physical equivalent by the most direct and physical media available, any order which is given to it in a state of belief or faith that the order will be carried out. Now, let us go back to the starting point and become informed as to how the original seed of an idea, plan, or purpose may be planted in the mind. The information is easily conveyed. Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. This is why you are asked to write out a statement of your major purpose or definite chief aim. Commit it to memory and repeat it in audible words day after day until these vibrations of sound have reached your subconscious mind. We are what we are because of the vibrations of thought which we pick up and register through the stimuli of our daily environment. Resolve to throw off the influences of any unfortunate environment and to build your own life to order. Taking inventory of mental assets and liabilities, you will discover that your greatest weakness is lack of self-confidence. This handicap can be surmounted and timidity translated into courage through the aid of the principle of autosuggestion. The application of this principle may be made through a simple arrangement of positive thought impulses stated in writing, memorized, and repeated until they become a part of the working equipment of the subconscious faculty of your mind. There are no limitations to the mind except those we acknowledge. Both poverty and riches are the offspring of thought. Riches begin in the form of thought. The third step toward riches is specialized knowledge, which is personal experience or observations. An educated man is not necessarily one who has an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. An educated man is one who has so developed the faculties of his mind that he may acquire anything he wants or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action to the definite end of accumulation of money. Lack of understanding of this fact has been the source of confusion to millions of people who falsely believe that knowledge is power. It is nothing of the sort. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when and if it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. Successful men in all callings never stop acquiring specialized knowledge related to their major purpose, business, or profession. Those who are not successful usually make the mistake of believing that the knowledge acquiring period ends when one finishes school. The truth is that schooling does but little more than to put one in the way of learning how to acquire practical knowledge. With this changed world, which began at the end of the economic collapse, came also outstanding changes in educational requirements. The order of the day is specialization. There is one weakness in people for which there is no remedy. It is the universal weakness of lack of ambition. Persons, especially salaried people, who schedule their spare time to provide for home study, seldom remain at the bottom very long. Their action opens the way for the upward climb, removes many obstacles from their path, and gains the friendly interest of those who have the power to put them in the way of opportunity. The home study method of training is especially suited to the needs of employed people who find, after leaving school, that they must acquire additional specialized knowledge but cannot spare the time to go back to school. The fourth step toward riches is imagination, which is the workshop of the mind. It has been said that man can create anything which he imagines. Imagination is a creative power that is necessary for inventing an instrument, designing a dress or a house, painting a picture, or writing a book. The creative power of imagination has an important role in the achievement of success in any field. What we imagine often and expect to happen can come into being. Everyone possesses a certain degree of imagination ability. The imagination manifests in various degrees in each person. Different people possess a different degree of this ability. In some, it is highly developed, and in others, it manifests in a weaker form. Some people are able to imagine clear mental images, and others can imagine only blurred images. However, this ability can be improved with some proper exercises. Imagination makes it possible to experience a whole world inside the mind. It enables you to look at any situation from a different point of view and to mentally explore the past and the future. How can we define the word imagination? What is it? Imagination is the ability to form a mental image of something that is not perceived through the five senses. It is the ability of the mind to build mental scenes, objects, or events that do not exist, are not present, or have happened in the past. This ability manifests in various forms, one of which is daydreaming. Though too much idle daydreaming may make one impractical. A certain degree daydreaming, while not being engaged in something that requires attention, provides temporary happiness, calmness, and relief from stress. In your imagination, you can travel anywhere in the speed of light, without any obstacles. It can make you feel free, though temporarily, and only in the mind from tasks, difficulties, and unpleasant circumstances. It includes all the 5 senses and the feelings. It is possible to imagine sounds, tastes, smells, physical sensations, feelings, and emotions. For some people, it is easy to see mental pictures. Others find it easier to imagine a feeling, and some are more comfortable imagining the sensation of one of the 5 senses. Training of the imagination gives the ability to combine all the senses. A developed and strong imagination does not make you a daydreamer and impractical. On the contrary, it strengthens your creative abilities and is a great tool for recreating and remodeling your world and your life. This is a wonderful power that can change your whole life. It is used extensively in magic, creative visualization, and affirmations. It is the creator of circumstances and events. When you know how to work with it, you can make your heart's desires come true. Imagination has a great role and value in each one's life. It is much more than just idle daydreaming. We all use it, whether consciously or unconsciously, in most of our daily affairs. We use our imagination whenever we plan a party, a trip, our work, or a meeting. We use it when we describe an event, explain how to arrive to a certain street, write, tell a story, or cook a cake. Imagination is a creative power that is necessary for inventing an instrument, designing a dress or a house, painting a picture, or writing a book. The creative power of imagination has an important role in the achievement of success in any field. What we imagine often and expect to happen can come into being. It is the important ingredient of creative visualization, positive thinking, and affirmations. Visualizing an object or a situation and repeating often this mental image attracts the object or situation we visualize into our lives. This opens for us new, vast, and fascinating opportunities. This means that we should think only in a positive manner about our desires. Otherwise, we might attract into our lives events, situations, and people that we don't really want. This is actually what most of us do because we don't use the power of imagination correctly. If you do not recognize the importance of the power of imagination and let it run riot, your life may not be as happy and successful as you would have wanted it to be. Lack of understanding of the power of the imagination is responsible for the suffering, incompetence, difficulties, failures, and unhappiness people experience. For some reason, most people are inclined to think in a negative way. They do not expect success. They expect the worst to happen. And when they fail, they believe that fate is against them. This attitude can be changed, and then life will improve accordingly. Understanding how to use your imagination correctly and putting this knowledge into practice for your own and others' benefit will put you on the golden path to success, satisfaction, and happiness. The power of thought as it relates to your ability to making maximum impact in life. Without the use of your mind, no one will mind you. The mind can be likened to the control room of life because it coordinates and controls the activities of a man. Call it the headquarters of a man's existence, if you like. That is why scriptures say, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Out of your mind are the issues of life. How much life delivers to you is a function of how well you engage your mind in productive activity. The issues of life are not handled by prayer alone. In fact, there are many things we pray about that simply engaging our minds in thinking can cheaply dissolve. It is a fact that the men regarded as stars in various fields today are committed thinkers. So, it follows that those who desire to become stars must become thinkers. Until you become a committed thinker, you don't become a commander. The thrones of the earth are reserved for thinkers. The world is not ruled by men of strength, but by men of sense. Hard work can never produce what high sense can. Aren't there hard-working laborers who never make it to the top? But show me a hard thinker, and I will show you a man going somewhere. Even the Son of God, Jesus, caused an explosion in his world by his wits. Everywhere he went, men marveled at his wisdom. Even at the age of 12, he kept the doctors of the law on their toes, asking them questions and answering theirs. Truly, thoughts are things, and powerful things at that, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into riches or other material objects. You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul,